This might be the most humiliating moment of Donald Trump's second term. Ukraine just carried out the most devastating strike, arguably, of the entire war against Russia without even telling the president of the United States. Not before, not during, not after. Trump found out like we all did on the news, on TV. What happened is that Ukraine launched this major drone attack, a coordinated drone attack, destroyed nearly a third of Russia's strategic bomber fleet. 5 air bases were hit, 40 bombers destroyed, billions of dollars in damage. This took months and months to plan. Trump wasn't even in the loop. And why wasn't Trump in the loop? Because Ukrainian President Zelensky doesn't trust Trump. And he's right not to trust Donald Trump. Because if you're honest, you can only conclude that Trump can't be trusted with sensitive information. He left classified documents in his bathroom in boxes. He's bragged about military secrets to journalists, to the Russian spy recruiter in the Oval Office during his first term, Sergei Kislyak. And his inner circle is full of these sycophants and opportunists who treat national security like it's a joke, as evidenced by Signalgate fiasco #1, Signalgate fiasco #2. That's the one where Pete Hegseth's wife was on the chat chain. And Zelensky's not a fool. He realizes that if we want to be serious and competent, and if we understand the stakes, and we're running this operation, moving drones into enemy territory, putting them next to critical buildings, you're not going to risk it by telling the guy who's known for blurting out secrets at Mar-a-Lago and pulling out papers and shuffling papers that he says, I'm not even really supposed to be showing you this stuff. And I would even go further, actually. Even if Zelensky believed Trump was completely behind Ukraine in this defensive war against Russian aggression, which he's not, right? But even if you're Zelensky and you go, I know Trump's behind us and not behind Russia, even if the American government under Trump wasn't dysfunctional and erratic and, leaking like a sieve, it still wouldn't make sense to share the plan. There was simply nothing to gain. The U.S. couldn't help. The only thing that could have happened would have been someone blowing the whole thing up accidentally or intentionally. And it's a sort of moment of clarity. Trump isn't feared. Trump isn't respected. He's not trusted. He's not trusted, feared, or respected by our enemies. And he's not feared, trusted, or respected by our allies. Putin's certainly not deterred. That we've learned. He launched his own record-breaking drone strike as well, biggest Russian attack of the war, I believe. And Ukraine went ahead with its biggest operation and didn't tell the supposed leader of the free world because they don't see him as a leader. They see him as a liability. They see Trump as a problem. And listen, understandably, Zelensky's willing to pay some lip service to Trump and show up and, go through the motions because, yes, Ukraine does benefit militarily from donations from the United States. There's no doubt about that. But when it came to protecting his own people, Zelensky protected his people by not telling Trump that this operation was going forward. And that's how bad things have gotten. And that's how low the country has sunk under Trump. The whole only I can fix it thing has become no one tells Trump anything anymore because no one trusts him with information or with power. And it really illuminates the myth of MAGA's strength. We were talking last week about, MAGA, what MAGA really wants at the end of the day is a daddy, a strict father. And this is the guy, Trump, who promised to make America respected again. And instead, our allies are running covert operations behind Trump's back because they don't think he's stable, and he's not. They don't think he's reliable. He's not. He's quite fickle. And they don't think he's competent enough to handle the heads up without the potential for it to leak. So Trump loves to talk about all the great relationships that he has with world leaders. That's because he confuses flattery with respect. Putin will flatter Trump strategically to manipulate him. Zelensky is avoiding even talking to Trump in order to protect his own country. I know that the reaction from many MAGAs is going to be, who cares? These are sissy, terrible countries. We don't give a damn. Well, that may be, but the whole bill of goods that we were sold was that everybody would either respect Trump so much or fear Trump so much that they would fall in line. Yes, sir, Mr. Trump. whatever you want. And of course, it's Putin strategically placating and flattering Trump when it's good for him. No sign of respect. And Zelensky seeing Trump as so unstable, erratic, and unhinged that he doesn't even clue him in to what they're up to. Not a sign of being respected, not a sign of being feared. And by the way, there are debates as to whether it's useful to the United States to have your president be feared, because the sort of frosting, the window dressing that the right puts on being afraid of Trump is he's so strong that people are afraid of him. The reality, I believe, is Trump's so erratic, unpredictable, disloyal, and fickle that it's a strategic mistake. That's what people are afraid of. It's not we fear him because he's so big, strong, and intelligent. It's we fear him because his values seem to be meaningless once they become inconvenient. So this is not a good place to be. If you look historically at when the leaders of global superpowers were seen as erratic and unreliable, it's never good. It's sort of like when they say, we've got to cut the budget, we got to cut spending. We empiricists say, give me an example of a country that cut its way to prosperity. We can't find one. And similarly, give me an example of where being seen as an erratic, unreliable negotiating partner ended up being a good thing for a country. There are similarly no such examples, unless you want to say, well, when Kim Jong-un in North Korea acts crazy, he gets food aid. But North Korea is a country at a very different level of development than the United States, and not a comparison that I imagine most Magapotamians would like to make. Let me know what you think. Make sure you're on my Substack newsletter, which you can find at davidpakman.com. davidpakman.com and davidpakman.substack.com. Either place. We'll take a quick break and be right back. There is a coordinated campaign right now to force religious beliefs into law, and it's moving fast. In Texas, lawmakers are trying to mandate the 10 Commandments in every public school classroom. In our Republican Congress, religious conservatives passed a bill to strip Medicaid coverage for gender-affirming care using religion as the justification. And across the country right now, we see these Christian nationalists really emboldened by the MAGA movement, and they're reshaping America, and it's terrifying. This is why I support the Freedom from Religion Foundation. They've been fighting back since 1978, defending the separation of church and state in courts, in schools, and wherever religion tries to take control. If you believe, as I do, that government should represent everyone, not just the religious right, take action now. Go to ffrf.us/freedom or just text the word David to 511-511. The info is in the description. Text fees may apply.